The Night Doorbell presenting The Devil Show. This true scary story's title is Shadows of the Past. In the heart of a secluded forest, far from the hustle and bustle of civilization, there stood a forgotten town called Ravenwood. Its history was marred with dark secrets, buried beneath the layers of time like coffins in a long-forgotten cemetery. The townsfolk went about their lives, unaware of the shadows that clung to their past. One chilly autumn evening, as the sun bled behind the trees, casting long shadows across Ravenwood, a group of curious teenagers decided to explore the town's abandoned mansion, known as the Whitaker House. This decaying relic had been the epicenter of the town's mysteries for generations. The leader of the group, Sarah, had heard stories from her grandmother about strange occurrences in the Whitaker House. Supposedly, it was haunted by the vengeful spirits of those who had lived there long ago. Sarah, fueled by a mixture of bravado and youthful curiosity, convinced her friends to join her on this perilous adventure. They gathered outside the mansion, shivering in the gathering darkness. The Whitaker House loomed over them like a sinister sentinel, its windows shattered, and ivy crawling up its decaying walls. Sarah, armed with a flashlight and a camera, took the lead as they cautiously stepped inside. The air was heavy with the scent of damp wood and decay. Dust motes danced in the beam of Sarah's flashlight as they ventured deeper into the mansion. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the creaking floorboards beneath their hesitant footsteps. As they entered the parlor, a sense of unease settled upon them. The room was adorned with old, cracked paintings of solemn-faced individuals. A portrait of a woman named Eloise Whitaker hung prominently on the wall. Her eyes seemed to follow the intruders with a mournful gaze. Despite their trepidation, the group pressed on. The basement beckoned, where the darkest secrets of the Whitaker family were said to reside. Sarah led them down a narrow, winding staircase into the bowels of the house. The temperature dropped noticeably, and their breaths hung in the frigid air. In the basement, they discovered a hidden chamber. Its walls were adorned with strange symbols, and in the center of the room lay an old, weathered book. Sarah's curiosity got the best of her, and she picked up the book, blowing away layers of dust from its cover. The book was filled with handwritten notes and cryptic diagrams. Sarah deciphered a passage that spoke of a ritual to commune with the spirits of the past. Ignoring the warnings in the text, she convinced her friends to participate in the ritual, believing it would grant them answers about the shadows that haunted Ravenwood. They lit candles, drew a mysterious circle, and chanted incantations from the book. As the ritual reached its climax, the room grew colder, and the shadows in the corners of the chamber seemed to stir. The temperature plummeted, and the air became electrified. Suddenly, the room was plunged into darkness. When the beams of light pierced the blackness, they gasped in horror. The shadows that had once been confined to the corners of the room now danced around them, taking on sinister shapes and eerie forms. A voice, ancient and sorrowful, whispered from the shadows. It spoke of lost loves, broken promises, and the sins of the past. The figures in the shadows began to solidify, taking on the forms of Eloise Whitaker and her family members, long dead but still bound to the mansion. Sarah realized too late that the ritual had unleashed a malevolent force. She pleaded with the spirits, begging for mercy, but their spectral eyes held no kindness. The spirits, driven by centuries of bitterness and resentment, sought retribution for the trespassers who had awakened them. The room erupted into chaos as the spirits lashed out. Furniture flew through the air, and the walls seemed to close in on the terrified teenagers. One by one, they were pulled into the shadows, their anguished screams echoing through the chamber. Sarah, the last one standing, was surrounded by the vengeful apparitions. Eloise Whitaker herself stepped forward, her eyes filled with an unquenchable rage. With a bone-chilling wail, she lunged at Sarah, her spectral hands passing through her flesh and into her very soul. The ritual had unleashed the shadows of the past, and now, it was consuming the present. Ravenwood would forever be haunted by the horrors that had been awakened that fateful night. Parents clutched their children a little tighter, and the townsfolk avoided the mansion like the plague. Superstitions and fears ran rampant, with some believing that the spirits of the Whittaker family had been unleashed upon Ravenwood, seeking retribution for past sins. Sarah's family, devastated by her disappearance, sought the help of a reclusive historian named Dr. Samuel Hartman. Dr. Hartman had dedicated his life to uncovering the secrets of Ravenwood's past, and he had long suspected that the Whittaker house held the key to the town's dark history. With reluctance, Dr. Hartman agreed to investigate the mansion. Armed with his knowledge of the occult and history, he ventured into the decrepit structure. His footsteps echoed through the haunted halls as he explored the eerie chambers, all while trying to decipher the ancient secrets of the Whittaker family. Days turned into weeks as Dr. Hartman delved deeper into the mysteries of the Whittaker house. He uncovered journals, diaries, and letters that revealed a sordid tale of betrayal, greed, and forbidden love. Eloise Whittaker, the matriarch of the family, had been wronged in life, and her rage in death had become an eternal curse upon Ravenwood. With each revelation, Dr. Hartman pieced together a plan to confront the vengeful spirits. Armed with his newfound knowledge and a determination to save Sarah, he returned to the basement chamber where the ritual had taken place. The symbols on the floor glowed faintly, as if awaiting his return. Dr. Hartman conducted a counter-ritual, aiming to pacify the restless spirits and bind them to the mansion once more. The process was fraught with peril, as the spirits fought to maintain their newfound freedom. Whispers of despair and rage filled the chamber, and the temperature plunged once again. Hours passed, and it felt as though Dr. Hartman's strength was waning. But just as hope seemed lost, a flicker of understanding passed between him and Eloise's spectral form. In that moment, Dr. Hartman realized the truth. He couldn't banish the spirits entirely, he had to offer them closure. With a trembling voice, he apologized on behalf of the living for the wrongs done to Eloise and her family. He acknowledged their pain and suffering, promising to remember their stories and ensure that the town would never forget the Whittaker legacy. Eloise's rage began to wane, replaced by a profound sadness. Slowly, she and the other spirits retreated, their forms dissolving into the shadows. As the last vestiges of their presence disappeared, the room returned to stillness. Dr. Hartman, weakened but victorious, emerged from the Whittaker house, and a newfound sense of peace settled over Ravenwood. The town's once dark secrets were brought to light, and the Whittaker family's story was told for the first time in generations. Sarah was never found, and her fate remained a mystery. Some believed that she had been taken by the spirits as a price for their peace. Others thought she had found a new existence in the shadows of the past. Ravenwood, forever changed by its encounter with the supernatural, embraced a new era of understanding. The Whittaker house remained abandoned, its secrets locked away, serving as a haunting reminder of the price of meddling with the past. Dr. Samuel Hartman, despite the toll his encounter with the spirits had taken on him, continued his research into the town's history. He dedicated his life to preserving the Whittaker legacy, not as a source of fear, but as a reminder of the consequences of unresolved grievances. He opened a small museum in Ravenwood, filled with artifacts and stories from the Whittaker family's past. Visitors from far and wide came to learn about the town's history and the lessons it held. The town council, inspired by Dr. Hartman's efforts, decided to commemorate the spirits of the past with a memorial in the town square. A solemn statue of Eloise Whittaker was erected, her eyes forever watching over Ravenwood. It became a symbol of reconciliation and a promise to never repeat the mistakes of the past. As the years went by, Ravenwood underwent a transformation. Its residents learned to embrace their history, acknowledging both the beauty and darkness that had shaped their town. The fear of the Whittaker house gradually gave way to a sense of respect for the spirits that had once haunted it, yet, the shadows of the past had not entirely relinquished their hold on the town. On the anniversary of that fateful night when Sarah and her friends had disappeared, a strange phenomenon occurred. A soft, mournful melody would fill the night air, echoing through the streets. Whispers of a lost soul searching for closure spread among the townsfolk. Some claimed to have glimpsed Sarah's ethereal form wandering the outskirts of Ravenwood, forever seeking the answers that had eluded her. Others said they felt her presence in their dreams, urging them to live their lives to the fullest and to never forget the lessons of the past. As the years turned into decades, Sarah's story became a legend in Ravenwood. She was no longer remembered as the girl who had vanished into the shadows but as a guardian spirit, a reminder that the past should never be ignored or underestimated. The townsfolk held an annual ceremony to honor her memory and reaffirm their commitment to a future free from the mistakes of their ancestors. The museum, curated by Dr. Samuel Hartman, expanded, housing more artifacts and stories from the town's rich history. It became a hub of research and discovery, attracting scholars eager to explore the mysteries of Ravenwood. The town had transformed from a place shrouded in fear to one known for embracing its past. No matter how haunting. Each year, on the anniversary of Sarah's disappearance, the entire town came together to pay their respects. A candlelit procession wound its way through the streets, leading to the memorial in the town square. There, the townsfolk would gather to hear Dr. Hartman speak about the importance of acknowledging the past and the lessons learned from the Whitaker house. Over time, a sense of unity and resilience grew among the townspeople. The spirits of the past were no longer feared but respected as a reminder of the strength needed to confront one's own history. Ravenwood had become a symbol of transformation, a place where darkness had been transformed into a guiding light. The annual ceremony took on a new tradition. Residents would place handwritten notes in the base of Eloise Whitaker's statue. These notes contained messages of hope, gratitude, and pledges to honor the past by living their lives to the fullest. It was said that the whispers in the wind carried these sentiments to the spirits, granting them the peace they had long sought. The legends of Ravenwood had spread far and wide, and the town's unique spirit began to affect the surrounding region. Nearby communities sought to emulate Ravenwood's example, recognizing that confronting their own dark histories could lead to healing and transformation. As the years passed, Sarah's story remained a poignant mystery. Some believed that she had found solace in the company of the spirits, while others thought she continued her quest for answers, forever bound to the Whitaker house. Her presence, or the lack thereof, remained a topic of debate and wonder among those who knew Ravenwood's history. In the end, Ravenwood had not merely confronted its shadows of the past, it had turned them into beacons of wisdom and remembrance. The town's legacy became one of resilience, unity, and the belief that even the darkest chapters of history could be illuminated by the light of understanding and reconciliation. Over the years, the annual ceremony honoring the memory of Sarah and the spirits of the Whitaker house evolved into a grand event. People from neighboring towns and even distant cities flocked to Ravenwood to participate. The town square was transformed into a sea of candlelight, and the procession to Eloise Whitaker's statue had become a symbol of unity, not just for the town but for all who attended. Dr. Samuel Hartman, now a revered figure in the world of history and the paranormal, continued to guide the ceremony each year. His wise words served as a reminder that confronting the past was an ongoing journey, and that the lessons learned from the Whitaker house were timeless. Scholars and researchers continued to visit Ravenwood, eager to delve into its archives and uncover more hidden truths. The town had blossomed into a hub of education and enlightenment. The Whitaker house, once shunned as a place of terror, had been meticulously preserved and transformed into a museum of history and the supernatural. It showcased the artifacts and stories of not just the Whitaker family but of all the people who had lived in Ravenwood throughout the centuries. The museum had also attracted a group of dedicated volunteers who had experienced paranormal encounters of their own. They were known as Keepers of the Shadows, and they shared their own stories with visitors, emphasizing the importance of acknowledging and respecting the spirits of the past. The keepers believed that the spirits, while once vengeful, had found peace and purpose in guiding the living towards understanding. As for Sarah, her fate remained a mystery that captivated the hearts and minds of those who visited Ravenwood. Some believed that she had become a guardian spirit, watching over the town she had inadvertently brought into the world spotlight. Others thought that her spirit had merged with the very shadows of the Whitaker house, becoming a part of its enduring legacy. Ravenwood had become not just a place of history but a living testament to the power of reconciliation and resilience. It stood as a beacon of hope for other communities, encouraging them to confront their own dark pasts and find ways to heal and grow together. The shadows of the past, once feared and dreaded, had become an integral part of Ravenwood's identity. They were no longer seen as malevolent entities but as guides, reminding the living to learn from their history and to build a brighter future. During this festival, visitors from near and far would gather not only to pay their respects but also to participate in a range of activities aimed at embracing the town's history. There were historical reenactments, guided tours through the Whitaker House, and lectures on the importance of confronting the past. The festival served as a beacon of hope and a model for other communities seeking to come to terms with their own dark histories. The museum, curated by Dr. Samuel Hartman, had grown into a sprawling institution that attracted scholars and historians from around the world. It had become a center for the study of paranormal phenomena, history, and the power of reconciliation. The museum's library housed rare manuscripts, journals, and artifacts not only from Ravenwood but from other towns inspired by its example. The Keepers of the Shadows had become an integral part of the town's cultural fabric. They played a vital role during the festival, sharing their stories and wisdom with visitors. They had transformed the once feared Whitaker House into a place of healing and understanding, where people sought solace and guidance from the spirits rather than fear. Sarah's story continued to captivate the hearts and imaginations of those who visited Ravenwood. It had become a symbol of resilience and the enduring connection between the living and the departed. Some visitors even claimed to have had encounters with a spectral figure they believed to be Sarah, offering comfort and guidance to those who sought her presence. Ravenwood's unique journey had caught the attention of documentary filmmakers and writers. Books and films were produced, spreading the town's message of acceptance and reconciliation to an even wider audience. People from various backgrounds and walks of life began to apply the lessons of Ravenwood to their own communities, hoping to heal their own wounds and reconcile with their pasts. The shadows of the past, once a source of dread, had transformed into a source of inspiration. They served as a reminder that no matter how dark and haunting a history might be, it could be transformed into a force for good and enlightenment. Ravenwood had become a living testament to the power of understanding, compassion, and unity, and so, as the years passed, Ravenwood continued to flourish as a beacon of hope, a place where the past was embraced, the spirits were respected, and the shadows of history had become a guiding light for the town and beyond. With this story ends here. If you like the story, then like the video and subscribe the channel and press the bell icon to pass it so that you keep getting such interesting stories. Thank you.